Hi there! I'm so glad to have you here at The Gracious Coach. First of all, I wanted to say a quick hello and introduce myself. My name is Grace Chung, and I am the creator of The Gracious Coach. Before I tell you a little bit more about The Gracious Coach, or as I call it, TGC, let me share with you about how I started this journey. Let's go! I was born and raised in Singapore and completed my undergrad at one of the local universities. I also worked for 4 years mainly in the sales, marketing, and business development functions in many industries before I decided to pursue my MBA. I moved to Canada in 2019, just before the COVID-19 pandemic, so I was really happy that I had some face time to meet my peers and the school faculty. My MBA program was 2 years long, and I was told that majority of the students secured internships for the summer. However, and unfortunately, when the pandemic hit in 2020, I struggled with getting a summer internship. I felt dejected and unworthy of myself. I saw my peers who either secured or were securing internships one after another. I became part of the 30% of students who were not able to secure any internship. I came to a point where I had given up any chances of getting an internship. I had no idea what to do, as it just got more and more depressing receiving emails that I was not considered for the internship or that the company wasn't going to move forward with my application. As I entered into my final year of the MBA, I stopped applying for any internship. The lockdown and the countless rejections did not help my mental health. And so, I made the decision to refocus and redirect my efforts. I wrote to my academic directors to find out the requirements and constraints of not completing an internship during the program, and if I could apply directly for a full-time that started in the final term. I found out that the only complication would be with regards to my study and work status in Canada. As an international student, the process was a little bit more complicated. The Office of Student Affairs told me that I had to inform my potential employer that I could only fulfill 4 months of full-time positions with them. And then I'll probably have to take a couple of weeks of absence until I get my postgraduate work permit. And this is essentially a non-negotiable because of immigration purposes. Even though I was faced with multiple challenges, knowing that I could still scout for a full-time role and explain the permit situation to potential employers did shine some light on the direction I would take. I could now focus on completing my school curriculum and strategically commit all my efforts for a full-time role instead of still attempting to secure an internship. I sat down and reflected on my game plan. I've always wanted clarity on my real strengths and how I could articulate that with my work experience. I wanted to know if my personal and professional self were congruent with each other, or were they two separate beings? I ruminated deeply for weeks before I identified that I was great at influencing others, and I built great relationships with people. I noticed that I had the competencies for many of the internship roles that I had applied to. But something was missing, and I had to figure out what that was. My resume template, cover letters, career story, and case study preps were similar to my peers. Yet, something was not right. In the summer of 2020, technology sales was in huge demand, and it seemed like a fancy job to have with the high-paying salaries and flexibility of time. I've never done a tech sales role before, so I researched online and came across a bootcamp for women in tech sales. Since it was a 10-day program, I invested some of my money and time to get insights into the requirements of such a role. I never regretted that leap of faith I took with this bootcamp. I cemented my innate skill sets, developed the confidence in my value proposition, and how to deliver with impact. I finally found the missing piece in this career puzzle of mine. I could go on and on, but I'll save you some time. I received a couple of offers in tech sales, but God had other plans for me, and I was blessed to receive a full-time offer in a Canadian bank focused on women in leadership. Many people asked me, why did you not take the higher paying job in tech sales? your guarantee is more than what you would make in the bank. Well, in the short term, that may be true, but I had to ask myself these 3 questions. Number 1, what were my long-term career goals? Number 2, what were my personal values that I stood for? And number 3, does the role fit the answers to these 2 questions? I may have taken a lower starting pay, but I knew that by taking this job in the bank, I would be doing right by me. As I started to guide fellow MBA students in their internship and job search, I discovered that I enjoyed helping others be successful and reach their full potential. What struck me still was that many students were strictly following a templated structure in their resumes, coffee chats, and interviews. That sounds a little bit familiar, doesn't it? It seemed as though the academic institutions were churning out robotic students that all looked the same. But what amazed me further were the diverse backgrounds that these students came from. I wanted to help them bring those experiences to their future employers while leveraging on the best practices that academic institutions already provided. I started to build references with students that I had helped, and after a year and a half, I decided that it is time. And there you have it, the Gracious Coach was born. I started TGC as a way to give back to students from my alma mater, but now I have larger dreams to not only help students, but others who are looking to switch careers or even land a role that they really want. I also want to help build a community of confident and passionate individuals. My vision for TGC is to help others develop confidence in communicating their competencies with impact while staying true to themselves. And of course, successfully landing roles that they enjoy and love. Once again, thank you for learning more about me, and if you would like to get in touch, please fill in the form below to get started. I offer a complimentary 15-minute call to discuss how I can help you. Cheers!